Here we go. Hey everybody, it's another episode of CtheG TV. So the deal is this. People are People are going to have opinions about your work. I see it a lot in my classes where people will come in after making work and want to they had shared it with a friend who said they didn't understand it or they didn't like it, and it really shut them down from moving forward with their work. And I too have dealt with a variety of experiences where people have felt the need to tell me their point of view about my work, especially when it's not so great. It can just bring up a lot of feelings of self-doubt and bring to surface the ones that we already have. So today I just wanted to share with you some tips and tools on how to handle that one. The first one is in college, where somebody, my last year in college, came up to me and said, when are you going to stop making that what'd she say? When are you going to stop making she said, when are you going to stop making such self-absorbed work? And you know what? I stopped making art for years because I felt completely put down. I was still really uncomfortable about the work I was doing. I was 4 years sober. I still didn't know how to be here in the world. I didn't know how to communicate my own beliefs or stand up for myself at that point. I was just making work because I was so uncomfortable. That was how I was processing being here. It wasn't until I was in Mexico on a power journey with Miguel Ruiz where I was looking through the lens and realized that I was actually having a spiritual experience, and it was important for me to process through that medium, and it didn't matter what anybody said. So there was like a shift that occurred, and I went back to making my work again full steam ahead. So there's another experience that I had where last year I was at a workshop in Italy, and somebody from the CtheG actually looked at my work and said, you know, I can tell that you're trying to say something. I don't exactly know what it is, and I'm not so sure you know how to use a camera. If they would have said that to me 20 years ago, I would have stopped being a photographer altogether. But because I believed in myself, and I believe that everyone has an opinion, and I was paying attention to who this person was and what their background is. My focus is on the content and the emotion. And so, of course, if my image is out of focus, or if things are inconsistent, or if things aren't even showing up on the film, it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, when really that's part of my process, and I embrace that, and I don't have to prove anything to him. But I wouldn't have known that had I been new to photography and trying to find my voice. That would have devastated me, right? So, you know, tip number one from earlier is to figure out why it is you're making your work. Make that why really important and solid for you. And number two, consider the source and recognize that everybody has an opinion, and that doesn't mean anything unless you mean it. Everybody has an opinion, and it doesn't mean anything unless you make it mean something. So you can take what you need, leave the rest, and not take it personally. There's a whole lot of things in number two. So number three is personal criticism from somebody that you know, trust, and love. When there's feedback coming at you that they're convinced that you're making your work for really negative reasons, and it penetrates. I think, you know, I've had people give me feedback, and because I know it's not true, like negative feedback about my work or what my intention is behind posting things online, and if it's not true for me, it doesn't penetrate. But when it is somebody that loves me, or that I love, and I'm putting my heart into a relationship with them, and they're telling me that I won't even go into it, it can chip away at, you know, making me question myself, when really that's their stuff. They're projecting their stuff, they're whatever. It doesn't have anything to do with me. And it just comes back to really being careful who you show your work to, and who you're getting feedback from, and who is in your circle, and remove people that are not adding anything positive or supportive into your circle or into your art world if it's actually damaging or detrimental to you. trying to find the best light. I keep moving around because the light keeps changing. Tip number 4 is to recognize that it's none of your business. It's not your own business to figure out if your work is good, bad, important, not important. It's important, and it is your business to make the work. I say that in every class. Get out of the way and just make the work. Don't try to figure it out. Just make the work. Not sure which way to go? Make work. I think that's the key to everything, is to keep moving forward and make, because in the making you can learn things about yourself, about what's next to do in your work. Your work has a lot to tell you about yourself and about what's next. And if we stop because somebody else questions our work or gives us a hard time about it, we are in the way of learning, growing, and changing the world with our work. And that world might just be our own, and that's enough. It's enough to make your work, to have a shift of perception, a shift in your attention, to learn and grow as a human, and that's it. That's enough. What I have found is that when people share their work, they're doing their work, and we're taking action forward, it actually has potential to connect us and to heal the world a little ripple at a time, leading to massive change and growth. I mean, art has changed my life because other people were willing to do their work and share it in the world. And I'll send you some information. I'm going to share with you some information on one of the first artists that actually changed my life the most. Anytime, basically, that we're making our art, if there's a little seed that gets planted from somebody who pokes at a little wound or a belief that we have about ourselves, or maybe that our work isn't really that good, or that our intentions aren't right, or that we're doing something that's just not worth doing. I mean, it can be devastating to our art making and to our self-esteem. So I wanted to offer you some tools to keep going, and to know that we're all struggling with all that internal dialogue, and the external doesn't help. So make sure that you're surrounded by the right people and that you continue to make your work. This is another episode of CtheG. This is another episode of CtheG TV. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Ciao. Somebody's coming on the road. Hi.
Hi.
Come on by.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no
Thank
dog?
you. Oh yeah.